welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am Darren.
Coming up on the show, we gather, we build, we master the world of Scrap Mechanic.
Oh. Plus, we spend a bit of quality time down on the farm in Stardew Valley.
Oh, that reminds me, my petunias need watering.
Ah, you know, I find it's best with the petunias to give them full sun exposure. They're quite tolerant to the heat.
Since when did you get into gardening, Bajo? Goose, are you hearing this?
I am, Hex. Actually, Bajo, Darren and I have a bit of a gardening collective. You should totally get involved.
Oh, Goose, I'm really digging what you're growing over there.
Oh, thank you, Bajo. Hey, Darren, I think our gardening skills are really blossoming.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, dear.
Where are the chrysanthemums?
I uprooted them last week.
Oh, nice one.
Oh, I don't know. I tend to kill all plants that I touch.
Well, maybe you could look after the weeds.
Well, anyway, Darren, how about some gaming trivia?
Oh, affirmative. Synapses to the ready, spawnlings. It's time for Darren's Challenge. Today, I'm asking you this. In the Amazing Spider-Man game, which former supervillain helps Spider-Man to defeat Alistair Smythe and save the city? Answer at the end of the show.
You know, spider mites can be a problem with petunias, but they do just wash off with a bit of water.
Okay, well, how about we see if Goose has got some gaming picks for this week? Goose, got some picks?
Yes, indeed I do, Hex, and here are my picks for this week. First up, Pokemon superfan Jarlin Perez has created this impressive 3D recreation of Ash Ketchum's bedroom using Unreal Engine 4. He even created a special custom user interface for the Pokédex. My bedroom never looks that clean. Next up, who says scientists can't kick some serious behind? Certainly not the folks at Super Interessante magazine, who are helping create Science Combat. It's a Street Fighter-style game that will pit history's greatest minds and theories against each other. Go get 'em, Einstein! In another science mashup, Jason Ailman has created this impressively accurate model of the Sun, Earth, and Moon out of Lego. They aren't to scale, but each celestial body orbits and rotates around each other at approximately the right speed. And finally, thank you to Jamie from Toowoomba for sending in these impressive Batman drawings. I think you captured his broodiness perfectly. Remember, if you've made something and want to send it in, you can do so here. And it may be chosen as one of Goose's gaming picks. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Goose. All right, guys, let's get scrappy with Scrap Mechanic.
Scrap Mechanic is an early access game available on PC, so it isn't a finished game yet. It shares a few similarities to Minecraft, where you have a variety of blocks and items available to build with. While you can't manipulate parts of the world, you can design vehicles of almost any description. By combining engines, thrusters, wheels, rotors, and all other sorts of parts, just about any contraption is possible. But you can also use many of these parts to simply build structures too, if you wish.
At the moment, there's only a creative mode, which gives you instant access to all of the parts and a fairly large sandbox to build in. But it's not that massive, so you will still find the edges of the world quite quickly. There is multiplayer too, though, so you can build with a friend if you want.
And sometime in the future, there's going to be survival mode, which will let you scavenge, and there'll be enemies and a story as well to add a bit of depth to it. But right now, unless you like building cars, there isn't that much to do.
Thankfully, the building tools are quite versatile, but they do take a little bit of time to get to grips with. To build a simple car, for example, you need to manually build the body, place rotors on any part that needs to turn, and individually connect those to the driver's seat. Then, of course, you'll need to attach an engine and connect the wheels to it so they're powered. And you'll need to make sure each part is set to rotate the correct way, too.
Yeah, and there's a handy little mechanic's guidebook to help explain how everything works, but even so, it took me a few goes to successfully build my first car.
Yeah, it can be a bit confusing, but the upside to that complexity is the freedom you have to build. I wasn't clever enough to build anything that exciting, but some of the things I've seen others build have been pretty impressive.
Affirmative. It wasn't long before I built myself a fairly impressive Darren mobile. Behold! I even gave him rocket boots. Darren, away! Admittedly, it took a few tries to properly balance the thrusters, and he did get stuck in a tree at one point. But once I had the design down pat, he flew like an angel.
Oh, so majestic, Darren.
Affirmative. So majestic that I never saw him again after that. He's probably in deep space by now.
Well, who knows what he'll find. Anyway, we should wrap this up. We won't score this game because it's still in development, but how did you find your time with Scrap Mechanic, Bajo?
Well, the building stuff is so impressive, and if they can add enough survival elements into this, they might have a big hit on their hands.
Yeah, it's definitely one to keep an eye on. I think it's a little bit too bare bones to jump into at the moment, but if all you want to do is just build some crazy vehicles, then there is some fun to be had here.
Well, now it's time to catch up with Dr. Michael Kasumovich, who is a scientist and a massive gamer. Roll the tape.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a gamer, and I'm also a scientist. You just got me. Being a gamer is really a lot about exploring the worlds that you're in and trying to understand the world that you're in. And that's what being a scientist is all about, exploring and trying to figure things out. When I first started university, I wanted to be a dentist. And I took one animal behavior course, and that changed everything for me. I just became fascinated with the world. It was as if I was entering a nature documentary, and I really wanted to be the guy who was figuring those things out. So I'm an evolutionary biologist, and I study why animals are the way they are and why they do the things that they do. And why females look for the males that they do, and why males choose the females that they do, and why they both decide to mate with each other. I'm really interested in trying to find out if a male hears a lot of competition around him, what does he do? And what we found is that they try and get bigger, they try and get stronger, and they take them a lot longer to get to that point. And then they're able to outcompete all these other rivals that they have. But when they don't have the competition, they mature a lot faster so they can find all the females that are available around them. And I use spiders and crickets because they're a lot of fun to work with. With spiders, I try and rear them around with a lot of other females. With crickets, it's even easier. I surround them with a whole bunch of speakers, and I can play different cricket calls to make them think that they hear a lot more males around them. I'm also really interested in using games to teach. And I think this is a fantastic new field because it provides a really comfortable environment for kids to explore scientific ideas. So we're starting to make creative scientific games where kids can learn about mate choice, when they can learn about competition, and a lot more about the animal world so they can understand how animals function. So what we did is we developed a little app that brings up a little augmented reality female, and then the students have to try and figure out what it is that the female prefers. Does she like, red objects? Or does she like blue objects? And then we find out that she does. So students are working together in teams to try and figure out what females prefer and how many of those objects they require so the female successfully mates with them. When the students picked up the tablets and started playing with the augmented reality tags, I heard gasps in the room and smiles went across all their faces. And all the kids started running around and interacting with each other just like the animals do. And it was an amazing thing to see students enjoy learning. Spawnlings, if you're interested in science, just be curious. Explore and try and find out why things are the way that they are. Discovery is the fruit of all our endeavors in science, and the more you want to discover, the more you'll learn.
Thanks, Dr. Michael. Fascinating stuff.
Oh, but now it's time for you two to go to the Our Spawn Point desk. The Spawnlings have questions that need answering.
All right, let's start things off this week with this one from the Doctor, who's in the TARDIS, in Hogwarts, which is in Middle-earth, which is in Victoria.
Oh, Victoria. Home to so many great sites.
Hello, GGSP. I have some very important questions, and it would be great if you answered. 1. In September, Nintendo revealed Pikmin 4 was in the works. But since then, there have been no new updates. Do you know anything? 2. Could you show the trailer for the new Paper Mario game for Wii U? 3. What do you know about the new LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens game? Thanks. P.S. I know you answer. I checked because I have a TARDIS. If you don't answer, this will cause a massive paradox that will rip apart space and time, so no pressure.
Well, Doc, we don't know anything more than what was said in September, which was simply that the game was apparently close to completion.
That seemed a bit odd of them to say, though, considering it hadn't been announced before and still doesn't have any screenshots or trailers available. At least usually when a game is close to completion, we've actually seen it a few times.
But we guess that we'll be hearing more about it sometime this year, either at E3 or in an upcoming Nintendo Direct. Maybe it'll be a launch game for the new console, Hex.
Maybe. As for the new trailer for the new Paper Mario, we can definitely show you some of that. Roll the tape, Lee.
The game takes place in a colorful paradise called Prism Island. But something is very wrong. Prism Island is being drained of its color. To make sense of all this, it's up to Paper Mario to do like he does and set off on a journey to bring color back to the land. And his new paint hammer is just the ticket. It splashes paint on anything he hits, restoring the island's color bit by bit.
And finally, we talked a bit about the new LEGO Star Wars the other week, but to recap, all we know about LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is that it will be a LEGO game and it will be based on The Force Awakens, plus a few extra scenes that weren't in the movie.
Helpful as always, Bajo.
I live to serve.
We do also know that it will be out on June 28th, but let's move on to this one now from the king of all that is hungry, who is in Hungary, Europe, which is in New South Wales.
Europe, New South Wales, so pleasant in the spring.
Yes.
Hey, good game. I was just wondering about Minecraft Story Mode. You only reviewed the first episode, and that doesn't really satisfy the average gamer like me. So, I was wondering what your opinions are on the rest of the episodes. Hex, do these. Darren is a noob, and so is Darren.
Well, Your Hungry Highness, we typically don't review each individual episode of episodic games. Instead, we tend to just review the first episode to see what it's like, and then we might do a full review of the whole season once all the episodes have come out.
And episode 5 is supposedly due to come out this month. It may even be out already by the time you watch this.
So when we get our hands on that, we might revisit them for you. But for now, let's move on to this one from Cooper, who is in Aspendale, Victoria. Hi guys, I was just wondering if you knew any good new games that just came out on the Wii. Thanks guys, Cooper.
Well, Cooper, sorry to say, but we don't know of any good new games that just came out on the Wii. In fact, we don't even know of any good or bad games. I'm pretty sure everyone stopped making games for the Wii now.
We should just double check with Darren just to be sure.
Yeah, good idea. Darren knows all the goss. He's a goss machine. It's ringing.
Hello.
Hey, Darren, Bajo here.
Hello.
Hex is here too.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Darren, are there any new games coming out on the Wii?
I'm sorry to say, but no. The last Wii game ever came out last year, which means the Wii has now pretty much ascended into the kingdom of retired retro consoles.
The Wii is now officially a retro console. But one good thing about retro consoles is there are so many games to choose from for them.
Yeah, and another good thing is if you want to buy older games for the Wii, they'll be really cheap now. All right, well, moving on. Hang around, Darren, would you? Because we have another question coming up next from Jasper, who is in a place where people love video games in New South Wales, and I'd love you to help me answer it.
Is that Datto?
No.
Minamara?
No.
Climber Downs?
Look, I'm sure they love video games in all those places, but that's not the specific place we're talking about.
Hi, GG. I was just thinking, do esports deliver some of the same positive effects as real sports? Thanks, Jasper. P.S. I'm a big sports person. Well, it's an interesting question, Jasper. Darren, do you think esports can have the same positive effects of real sport?
Well, obviously, esports don't deliver any of the physical benefits you get from real sport. Sitting at a computer or in front of a TV is never going to improve your health the same way that running around in a field would. But if it's a team-based esport, then it can definitely deliver the positive effects of learning how to work well in a team and how to communicate with others.
Yeah, it's true, and I guess they would help by encouraging players to be disciplined and train hard.
Oh, affirmative. Also, a lot of top esports players do stay physically healthy because, as people often say, healthy body, healthy mind. So many players do try to look after themselves to stay at their peak performance.
Some good points there, Darren. Thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, well, let's move on to this one now from Little D, who is in Bonup in Western Australia. I think it's Bonup. Bownup?
Bownup?
Boonup? Hi, Good Game SP. I'm Dean. I'm wondering what consoles No Man's Sky is on. Please tell me. And on Clash of Clans, how do you get money faster because I'm poor? Thank you, Darren. Do these.
Get him on the phone, Hex.
Hey, Darren?
IMAMEGANOOB. I'm not though. I'm not.
Ha ha ha. Thank you. Bye. Well, Little D, PS4 is the only console that No Man's Sky is due to come out on at the moment, but it is also coming to PC.
I think it may just be a timed PS4 exclusive though, so there is a chance it will come to other consoles in the future, but for the meantime, you'll need a PS4 or a PC.
As for easy ways to get money fast on Clash, well, one of our favourite tactics is to simply build up armies of about half barbarians and half archers. It's about the cheapest army you can build, and it builds very quickly, so you can launch a lot of raids in a day. Plus, any level town hall can build them.
Then just go raiding, and the trick is to keep an eye out for any bases with full collectors. There's a few ways you can tell if they're full. Firstly, they look full. Secondly, they may have a lot of resources while their storages look quite empty.
And if you see they have a lot of plants and trees around their base, then that's a good sign they haven't been playing recently and wouldn't have collected their resources, leaving them ripe for the plucking.
No, you're not trying to win any stars here, you're just trying to steal resources. So if you're pushing for trophies, this isn't a great strategy, but it is a good way to get loot.
And on that note, we're out of time for this week, but if you'd like to ask us something, then you can go here and send it in.
Back to Studio Hex.
All right.
Let's do it.
You're very energetic this week. Wonderful questions this week, Bajo. Okay, guys, now it's time to head on down to Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley is brought to us by indie developer Concerned Ape, who's actually just one person, Eric Baroni. This is a country life simulation RPG, and development started on this game way back in 2012.
That's right, Bajo. It's been in the making for quite some time. The game begins with you inheriting a farm from your grandfather, and this farm just happens to be located in a place called Stardew Valley.
Yeah, and it's quite a large plot of land that you get. To begin with, it's quite messy and overgrown with trees, shrubs, and rocks, so you'll be getting to work right away clearing it all out.
And to do this, you'll need some tools.
Correct, Bajo. Initially, you're given the basic tools to shape your farm. These tools aren't only helpful for tending to your farm, but to also use in other areas of the game that you'll soon discover.
That's right, Darren. You can even get a pet and choose from a cat or a dog. Naturally, I chose a cat. Even named him after you, Darren.
Oh, you're too kind, Bajo.
You're welcome, mate.
Too kind.
Along with your tools, you also get a watering can for watering all of your crops, which is your main source of income. I found it quite calming and relaxing just tinkering away at my farm in my day-by-day cycle.
Yeah, me too, Hex. It's one of those kinds of games, isn't it? It saves your progress overnight, so you get this real just one more day feeling to it. Just one more day, one more day.
I totally know how you feel, Bajo, and you're not alone in this game. There are numerous citizens that dwell in the town of Stardew Valley, and they all have their unique occupations and routines. I thought these townspeople created great atmosphere in the valley, although I do wish there was a little bit more depth to your interactions with them.
Yeah, I agree, Hex. Maybe some dialogue options would have helped. The villagers do have their pros, though.
Oh, affirmative, Bajo. You'll frequently receive quests from them as letters in your mailbox. These quests can be completed for a bit of extra change or even a special item. Oh.
Yeah, I thought the trickle of quests and mechanics in this game was spot on. For example, the mines will open a few days into the game. Once you've explored the mines a bit and gathered some materials from there, the town blacksmith will visit you at your house and explain how to smelt and craft different items. I did enjoy these quests, especially trying to find the mayor's purple shorts, but I just felt like there wasn't much of an end game here.
Yeah, there's no real direction or main goal to aim for, but that's what this kind of game is. You make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, I suppose it's the nature of the game to leave it quite open-ended, and you can upgrade your tools and begin to add to your farm. For a fee and a few materials, you can hire the local carpenter to build things like animal coops, wells, and even barns.
Oh, a fantastic tip is to build a silo first on your farm before you build an animal coop. This is because when you clear grass on your land, hay will automatically gather in your silo. This means your animals will have a food source. This will save you time and money on having to purchase hay instead. But we should wrap things up here, guys. What score are you going to give it?
Well, I really enjoyed my time with this. I think it's a well-crafted RPG farming simulator with delightful visuals and really interesting gameplay, so I'm giving it 4.
Yeah, it's such a charming game, isn't it? I enjoyed spending time on my farm or simply fishing by the seaside. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Well, we're almost at the end of the show, so it's time for the answer to your challenge, Darren.
Oh, at the start of the show, I asked you this. In the Amazing Spider-Man game, which former supervillain helps Spider-Man to defeat Alistair Smythe and save the city? And the answer is... the Lizard!
Ah, Dr. Kurt Connors.
Affirmative.
Next week on the show, it's Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4.
Believe it!
We're gonna defeat
You, Madara.
So be it. Then this shall be our final battle.
And the mystery, the superness of Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon.
Become a Pokemon and prepare for a grand adventure. Encounter and befriend all 720 known Pokemon.
Hey guys, did you know it's the 20th anniversary of Pokemon this year? So many games.
Yeah, so many, and such a long legacy too.
So many Pokemon. There are 722 of them now.
Oh, gotta catch them all. Well, until next time, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.
All right, guys, any updates on your favorite Pokemon?
Well, I know it's not the popular choice, but I'm still rolling out with Dunsparce.
For me, it's always a toss-up between Mewtwo and Jigglypuff.
I'm quite partial to Psyduck, although that Meowth with the Brooklyn accent in the cartoon, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny.
Team Rocket.